welcome back to this week's episode of Can I Just Say podcast. Let's get into what's happening with the cosmos. So, we just had a new moon in Taurus on Sunday, this past Sunday, April 27th, and new moons in the sign of Taurus, so it is currently now Taurus season. New moons happen in the same sign as the sun, and our full moons happen in the opposite sign that the sun is in. So we just had our full moon in Libra. We're having our new moon in Taurus. So Taurus is the bull, the sign that we typically associate with being very stubborn. It's an earth sign. But Taurus is also the sign of comfort, luxury. It's about having nice things and comfort food. Taurus loves nice things. So this new moon is kind of a time for us to redefine our sense of self and really tap into what we know that we truly deserve and really kind of get in touch with our desires. Really tap into what makes you feel good and what comforts you and build on those things. So on today's episode, I thought we would discuss the difference between healing and avoiding. Let's be real. How many of us have ever convinced ourselves that we were healing, quote unquote, when we're really just keeping ourselves busy? Maybe we dive into a new self-help book, or we start meditating twice a day, or we look toward our next plant medicine journey and sign up for a breathwork course, or we binge every single spiritual podcast we can find. And on the surface, it looks like growth. But underneath, we're really just avoiding the one thing we don't want to face, our feelings. I have been there. I still find myself there quite a bit. Old habits and the like. I've filled my time with everything that felt like healing. But if I were being honest, I was just afraid to sit still long enough to actually feel what needed to come up. And I think a lot of us do this without realizing it. So today, we're going to talk about the difference between true healing and avoidance, disguised as self-improvement. How to recognize when you're spiritually bypassing, and what it really looks like to face our healing and our feelings head on. So first things first, what does true healing look like? While there is no one definitive way to prove this, healing isn't about fixing yourself. You are not broken. Healing isn't about reaching some perfect version of yourself where you never feel triggered or sad or lost. That's not healing. That's just a fantasy. Healing is about integration. I am a huge advocate for plant medicine, and I have discussed that before in the past and will discuss it in future episodes as well. But it is another tool used to escape if you are not integrating what the medicine is showing you. It's about allowing yourself to feel what you've been suppressing, process it, and then move forward with acceptance. Acceptance is the key here. It's about giving yourself space to feel those ugly, messy, uncomfortable emotions without immediately trying to fix them. Think of it like this. If you get a deep cut, you don't just slap a bandage on and pretend like nothing happened. You have to actually clean the wound, let it breathe, and eventually it heals on its own. But if you ignore it or cover it up too soon, it can get infected or stick around for much longer than need be. Emotional wounds are the same way. Ask yourself this: am I truly sitting with my emotions and allowing myself to feel them without needing to explain them? Or am I just covering them up with the routines that make me feel productive in my healing? We live in a world that worships productivity. So it makes sense that even in our healing, we try to turn it into a checklist. Meditate for 10 minutes, journal 3 pages, listen to a self-help podcast, read another book on how to overcome trauma, say 10 affirmations in the mirror. Check, check, check. Don't get me wrong, those things are all great and should be used in your daily life if you feel called to them. But If you're doing them just to feel like you're healing, rather than actually sitting with what you need to process, you're missing the point. You can read and sympathize with the author of every trauma-related book you've read, but if you are not allowing yourself the space to feel the emotions that come up as you read those books, chances are you are just looking for the validation that you are broken, that someone else sees and hears you. I used to think healing meant doing more. When I started along this journey and learned about a dark night of the soul, I could not ingest enough information. If I could just find the right book or the right course or the right practice, then I'd finally feel okay. But my real healing has taken place while I am curled up in my blanket, clinging to my teddy bear for dear life, sobbing my sweet little heart out for all of the injustices I feel. Sitting with myself in utter silence, letting all of those emotions pour out of me as they rise, instead of distracting myself with productivity. Here's a question to reflect on. When was the last time you just sat with your emotions without trying to solve them? Let's look at some signs you may be avoiding instead of healing. Remember, we are looking non-judgmentally. This whole human journey is about experiencing every gritty, dirty, beautiful portion of it. Maybe you notice yourself feeling numb instead of emotional. Avoidance often looks like disconnection or dissociation. Or maybe you are constantly on the hunt for new tools or new books or new practices, but never actually really apply them. Maybe you notice yourself feeling worse when you stop being productive in your healing, because the silence makes the real emotions bubble to the surface. Or maybe you use positivity to push down uncomfortable feelings. I think a lot of us, especially in the spiritual or self-growth spaces, have been conditioned to believe we have to remain in a high vibrational state to achieve ultimate healing and happiness, the good vibes only mentality. That if we're not positive all the time, if we're not affirming good things, then we're somehow attracting negativity. While it's good to have an optimistic outlook on life, bypassing emotions around things that trigger or hurt your feelings as part of the healing process isn't healing at all. True healing means allowing all emotions to come through, even the low vibe ones. You are allowed to feel sad, angry, hurt, or lost. Those emotions aren't signs of failure. You won't call in more misery if you allow yourself to feel miserable about something not going your way. When we allow ourselves to feel those emotions, when they rise, we remove the opportunity to get stuck there. If we stuff those feelings further and further down, we will begin to notice more negative things in our life until all that's left is all the negative. Spiritual bypassing happens when we use things like affirmations, meditation, or even gratitude as a way to skip over the uncomfortable parts of healing. Instead of saying, I feel really disappointed right now, and that's okay, we say something like, I'm just grateful for the lesson. Everything happens for a reason. I personally find myself doing this a lot. I think I still sort of do it when I don't want to reopen the wound. But typically now, I will say those things after I have created the space for myself to feel that disappointment and move on from it. It's not that gratitude is bad by any means, but if we use it to avoid feeling our actual emotions, we're not healing. We're just bypassing. So next time you catch yourself forcing positivity like this, pause. Ask yourself this. What am I avoiding feeling right now? If we really want to heal, we have to stop running. That means allowing the emotions to surface. No more numbing out, no more distractions. Just sitting with what comes up, even if it's uncomfortable. Practicing emotional honesty. Instead of sugarcoating our feelings, be real with yourself. I feel abandoned. I feel angry. I feel lost. Say it. Own it. Tell the other person so you can heal with them. Let go of the need to be productive in your healing. Some of your biggest breakthroughs will come when you stop trying so hard to heal and just allow yourself to be. Recognize when you're using self-improvement as a distraction. Healing doesn't always mean doing more. It's about being more present with yourself. So the next time you feel something heavy, instead of reaching for a distraction like your phone, the remote control, a substance, or a spiritual guide, sit with it. See what happens when you stop running. Healing is not about reaching some perfect, enlightened version of yourself. While that may be the ultimate goal to life, it is important to experience the journey too. We aren't reaching for anything in particular or leveling up. You're always on the right track as long as you're staying true to yourself. Healing is about allowing yourself to feel, to process, to accept all parts of you, all the beautiful, messy, uncomfortable ones. So if you're in a season where you feel stuck or like nothing you're doing is working, I see you. Recognize healing isn't something you do. It's something that you allow. What's one emotion you've been avoiding? And what would happen if you just let yourself feel it without fixing it or analyzing it or trying to make it go away? Sit there and see what comes up. Thank you so much for joining me for another podcast. I hope this was helpful. And if you enjoyed it, like it and share. I'll see you next week.